Hey guys, Cyphus here, letting you know that on Saturday, March 11th from 6 p.m. Eastern until midnight, .p will be hosting a stream on twitch.tv/.ptv in honor of reaching our $500 Patreon goal. The stream will feature me, Roland, Ursinity, and Proud, and who knows, maybe some Grumbo, streaming Dota 2 goodness and God only knows what else for 6 straight hours. Thank you to all the awesome patrons who helped us hit this mark, and remember you can still donate to patreon.com/defense of the patients to get access to awesome rewards like the custom patron status in the .p Discord, patron exclusive episodes, replay reviews of your Dota 2 games, or even to build your own show. Remember, that's Saturday, March 11th from 6 p.m. Eastern until midnight on twitch.tv/.ptv. Thanks, guys.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome, of course, Theorycraft Thursday. You notice I said it right that time. It's Theorycraft. We, of course, are everybody's favorite Walking Dead podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Proud. Proud of the trash people, or maybe not. We're very happy Alexandrians, I suppose. On this week's Walking Dead podcast, of course, we're going to be focusing specifically on the trash people and, of course, on Rosita, and specifically the question of whether Rosita is the dumbest character and the worst planner of any show ever written.
Yeah, Rosita sucks. I feel like she's not nearly important enough to be as upset about everything as she is.
Yeah. I actually really like Rosita until this arc, and I was just like, boy, you are the most short-sighted person I've ever heard speak any words of any different language I've ever seen in my entire life, and this is such nonsense.
You've heard the trash people speak, and they're also pretty questionable about their perceptions.
Yeah, they're not great, but you know, I think they're not quite at the Rosita tier of not understanding how consequences for actions work. But alas, here we are.
Okay.
That's about that. So let's talk about.
You got anything else?
No, I mean we could go on for length, but honestly, if I start talking about Walking Dead, we'll be here for another 10 minutes, and then people will start leaving. So yeah. Plus, you don't want to accidentally spoil things for people that are not up to date.
Yeah.
Fun show.
Can't spoil what happens when Rick goes to the up.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a fun show. It's just nonsense. Like, oh god. Okay.
I love it.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, it's a good time. I'm actually gonna reread the comics. I'm gonna commit to that. But
okay,
that is a conversation for a different show. We, of course, are a Dota 2 podcast. Sometimes, occasionally, every once in a while. But let's talk about our week in Dota, Proud. How's your week in Dota, Proud, been?
I don't know. It's been fine. I lost a bunch of games and then I won a bunch of games. Seems to be kind of what happens every week for me.
Yeah.
A lot of down, then a lot of up. I've kind of even a little bit of up. Even you might even say. I've kind of stopped playing Lone Druid almost entirely unless I really have to. Like someone picks Shadow Fiend and I'm mid as the highest MMR player. I'll say, okay, I'm going to pick the hero that starts with about 80 damage or 90, depending on what starting items I go with between 2 units instead of, OD or something like that.
Well, you play TA.
Yeah, I'm not a TA player. I was just thinking I should add TA to my repertoire because So I got Shadow Fiend because I'm like, okay, I'm a 5K player now. Like, what happens when it's a bunch of 4Ks and there's a 5K? They pick Shadow Fiend and then they shit on whatever 4K they're against. It's like, all right, I need to fill this role because I've been thrust into it. So now I play Shadow Fiend and I'm, fine with it. I played a Shadow Fiend against this dude who was lower MMR than me, and of course I got every CS and 3 denies on the first wave, and I won the game from there. Shadow Fiend is if you think you are better than your MMR, play Shadow Fiend, because every CS is an opportunity for you to just be better than the other person and win the game. If you're playing Invoker and you're way better than them, you need a ton of skill to hit every CS with 40 fucking damage.
Yeah,
no matter how much better you are than they are with Invoker, you don't have any damage. You can't really exercise it. But with Shadow Fiend, all you got to do is find 1 or 2 opportunities that you will find because you're better than the other person, and then wow, you fucking won the lane. You have 90 damage at level 3. You did it. You congratulations, you won. It's like that. It's you have won a free iPhone. Only it's 25 MMR. Congratulations.
It's even better.
Yeah, I would take 25 MMR over an iPhone. Not over healthcare though. That's a funny joke.
Yeah, that humor. I would also probably I'd take 25 MMR over a lot of things. I think about this regularly. I'm like, boy, what is like, I wonder if I had to put a price on like each individual victory in solo ranked, of course. I don't know.
They have that actually. It is called boosting.
Well, yeah, but that, I mean, you know, I have morals and ethics and whatnot. But right. I would be interested to know, like, how much I value. Like, I would rather play, for instance, time-wise, I'd rather play a 90-minute game and win and just have a miserable time, but still win at the end of the game, than have a great time and lose. Like, it's something, I remember I said this while streaming, this has kind of become one of my tenets of Dota, is that I'd rather play with jerks who win games than nice people who lose games, because I'm not looking to have a good time and lose. I'm looking to have a win, regardless of how the actual game goes.
Yeah, I'll take pretty much any amount of mental duress as long as it ends in that W.
Yeah, it was interesting when I had that epiphany where I was like, man, I really just don't want to play with nice people. I lose all the time when I play with nice people on my team. Like in pubs, it's like, oh boy, what a delightful support. Except he messed up the lane and he sucks, and now I'm the jerk here because like I just want to win. I don't want to play with nice people. Not looking to bond. I'm looking to get plus 25s.
You heard it here first. Sam's a goddamn asshole.
I like it. It really is, because normally I'm the nice guy in pubs because everybody else is just insufferable.
Must support.
Yeah, well, that too. But when everybody else is too nice, then I kind of like have to take up the role as the guy that's just like, hey, I realize you're a nice person, but you are terrible. Please help do these things. Listen to me. Anyway, that's okay. Just Dota 2, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. This isn't making you look good, by the way. But I get what you're saying. You know, I know you're not a piece. You're not gonna rage. You don't rage at people in pubs. But I know what you mean. Like, there's a lot of times where everyone's like, "Oh, everything's fun," but then just like nothing gets done and you lose the game. You're like, "Oh, maybe we should have spent some time trying to figure out how to play the game instead of jerking each other off."
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I never flame people like on in game, but like if I'm streaming, for instance, even if I'm not streaming, I'm just sitting alone in my room, I'll just say things off mic. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. How is this happening? Or I'll be talking in Discord, stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway, my week in Dota, not been too exciting. I played a bunch of, or not a bunch, but I played some Quas-Wex Invoker, which was an interesting change. It's not something that I would say it's probably the right play in maybe 10% of games, if that. Yeah. It's like I played against Storm Spirit and Zeus. And really, that's all that comes to mind. Like, wow. I mean, I'm sure there are other matchups, but those are the two.
Yeah, I can see it against Zeus, because the damage that you don't have doesn't really matter, because Zeus isn't a deny hero. He's like, he gets last hits, but he doesn't actually deny you very well.
Yeah.
I can see that. And the ton of regen you have in the laning phase, that seems good.
Well, also, he tries to do his sneaky stuff with, like, bottle and all that, and then, like, you out CS him because all you have to do is catch him in one EMP, and then it's like, oh boy, you can't CS, or you have to go Shrine or whatever. That's like one of the big, same thing with Storm, really, is like Storm, you're rely on remnants, but if you just like tornado EMP him or EMP cold snap him, he's gonna have a
Storm never gets away from that.
And then he can't take advantage of, like, because the typical thing, right, with Storm is that you hit 6 and then you get a gank to your lane and you kill them, or even you just solo kill them, depending on how the matchup's going. Yeah. You can't do that if you don't have mana. And there's a lot of mana to steal, right? 'Cause
yeah, no, that's right. You normally do need mana to kill people. No, that's correct.
It's a controversial opinion, but that is something that I'll go out and say.
No, yeah, you do. No, I was just kind of visualizing like how most fights that I take go, and like normally I use mana in them, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I always think is funny, that EMP is let's see how to word this. I mean, very simply, EMP gives Invoker back mana for the mana stolen. People forget about that.
Ain't nobody know about that.
Yeah.
No humans.
I didn't know about that for a long time, actually. Yeah. I was just like, oh, it burns mana. This is nice. But then I was like, boy, why does this guy always have tons of mana when he's playing against Zeus? It's like, oh, well.
Here's the buff that Mana Boots needs so that my supports actually fucking buy them instead of get Tranquil Soul Ring, as though that's an acceptable like trade-off. Mana Boots steals mana from everyone around you, and then you return that much mana to your team.
That would be interesting.
There we go. Now people will actually buy goddamn Mana Boots when they ought to.
That would be interesting, actually, as like a mana sap item or ability where it's like, oh, yeah, you used to have mana, and now I have it. It'd be way OP, though. Like, it would be.
Yeah, no, that'd be stupid. Never do that change. But it was fun to think about for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it would be funny. I'll say that, until somebody picked it against me.
It's like blink, mana boot. Oh shit, our whole team is
Yeah, let's see. Maybe not even an AoE, but like a targeted thing. Kind of like a soul ring, but like you buy it again, and then you combine them, and it's like a
Mana
soul
boots
swap.
2, courtesy of, what was that mode when LLC got released?
Huh?
That like little custom game that you played, like that Horde mode thing when Legion Commander came out? It was Wraith Knight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had Mana boots 2 in that.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, I remember this now. Yeah, I'm terrible.
Now my reference makes sense. Okay, anyway.
Other than that, though, nothing too exciting. We played that game against Purge's stack on stream, which was fun. I played AM mid, which was a good time. It didn't, obviously, we ended up losing that game, but I was it was a nice little confidence boost when I watched the VOD and his chat got all excited when I made a nice Manta dodge. But it was a fun game.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that game because...
you did not have a fun time.
No, Sven just got fucked. That was not a fun game to be a Sven in. I just got fucking manhandled.
Yeah.
Got ganked like a motherfucker. I mean, I still had more kills than deaths or whatever, and I had to buy back a ton, and it played fine, but it was just like not a fun game to be a Sven in.
Yeah. It's very interesting, I'll say. I've never actually done it before where I've watched a VOD or watched a replay from the other mid player's perspective. Whenever I go into VODs, I either play on free camera or with my own perspective. And it was actually a really cool experience to watch somebody, and also it helps that I can actually hear his comms. But it was interesting to watch the mirror match of like the person directly opposing me. And yeah. And he was all excited. He's like, "Oh man, he's ferrying out salves. I've won." I was like, "Buddy, I ferried out salves and then I killed you." But that was very fun. I will say that. So yeah, that's about that. That's
what do you? Okay, so I just played it. I don't want to go too far off, but I just played an AM game myself, and I was doing really well. And I feel like a lot of AMs are getting home with the Dominator now, right? Yeah. Like even if you're not doing that fighting build, you just get like
in general
Dom and Battle Fury, and then you just do whatever with the creep, like have it do more split pushing, or like have the creep be helping your team out while you're doing your farming and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that is the thing. Honestly, I've not been doing that, but also I've only played like this 1 AM game, and I was playing mid. Yeah. I was even asking you, I was like, I don't know, what should I do for items? But yeah, HOD is very common in all the AM play I've been watching. It is, unless you're like absolutely dominating your lane and going to get a super fast Battle Fury, like 14 or less, a lot of people are doing this like more fighty build where you control the lane and you harass extra, where you just go, what's it called? Like treads, HOD, and then Battle Fury. Or they do the fighting build, which is like treads, HOD, Maelstrom, Manta. Yeah. Okay, that just check, because I was like, man, I'm running out of health a lot, and I'm using my team's fucking shrines. This is not what I should be doing. But I was like, I was doing really well, but I was doing really low to the point where I wasn't like, oh, let me just get a Vanguard before Manta, because I was against a Skywrath, and I was like, I just want to get the Manta, and I was against a Slark too, so I was like, I really enjoyed using the Manta to break pounces if I didn't have Blink and stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, if you have a Manta, and if you ever want to break a pounce, just walk to the end of it and then Manta, and if the Manta like replaces you to the end of where like the leap or the pounce will take you, the pounce will just break. Like you can Manta repositions your hero a slight amount, like it splits you up into 3, and if that takes you in any direction at all away from the pounce leash range, it'll break the pounce every time. Yeah, you can also do it with Puck ult. I actually did that recently, and I was so proud of myself. One of those things where I was like, I'm going to die anyway, but I want to try this just to see if I can do it. And it was so satisfying. I was so proud of myself. I died immediately afterwards, but boy, it was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, like to dodge the stun from breaking Puck ult Dream Coil.
Yeah.
You can just...
that one's way harder, because you can't just like walk to the end and then it'll stop you for itself and be like, okay, now you use Manta. Puck, you have to like walk to the end and be like, all right, I think this is it. And then if you overguess it, you just stun yourself, which isn't good.
Or if RNG screws you and you get put in like one of the back Manta illusions, then that'll also work. But yeah, that's fun to try.
Anyway.
Yeah, AM is interesting, the HOD thing. I actually, in this game against... So Manta on AM, both for fighting builds and for like standard AM flash farm slip push builds, is very interesting in that it's very common for people to use it defensively, but it's actually really almost more of an offensive item on AM. And so, for instance, in this game, I expected an Orchid to come out from Purge. He actually never ended up building an Orchid. He went like Bloodstone, Lincoln's, Shivas.
Yeah.
And, but the Manta in a lot of games, it's just your ability to have like any teammate stun somebody, and then you just blink Manta, and then pretty much anybody that's not an int hero is going to instantly have 0 mana. And if they're an int hero, then they're just instantly become a bomb for Mana Void. So that's like the real big advantage of Manta. And that's why people do it in these fighting builds, right? Is because they don't go at first. I ended up going at first in this game, which I think may have been a mistake. But it's nice to have that duality of use, right? And that it's amazingly defensive, but it's also like good for farming, good for split pushing, and on top of that, offensively, you can just surprise somebody with 3 people burning a ton of mana all at once.
Yeah, you can save it for like, you sit there and, oh, hey, CM popped out and frost bit me, so I'm going to Manta and then run away. Or if you're actually doing a fight and you're catching them by surprise, then you can blink on someone and use your Manta. So it helps. Like most of the time on AM, I actually just don't use it when I'm farming unless I'm already really far back. But like if I'm farming jungle, I'm like, I'm not going to Manta while I'm jungling. I'm just going to hold that shit.
Yeah, you farm so fast anyway, like you're already going to be waiting on cooldowns for the creeps. So yeah, I don't do that anymore.
If you're spamming your Manta, like you already kind of need to vary out clarities on anti-mage, depending on how far progressed you are. Like, but if you're also spamming your Manta for the 125 mana, like that's just it's not going to work out.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so that was fun. I mean, now I don't want to play an AM game. We're not going to do that this week, though.
I just did, so I'm like, feeling it right now.
Yeah, it's fun here. He's still my favorite carry by a good margin. I remember in many iterations of Hakuna Mirana, you and I have had disagreements because I think AM is
it's like always the pick.
Well, I wouldn't say always the pick, but I think there are certain heroes where I see and I instantly am just like, I'm going to play AM this game from the enemy team. And then I also think he's good in other situations where it's like, oh, I'm going to free farm. But you have a lot of different preferences. But I mean, that's just because we vary.
Well, see, the key is I know that I'm playing with the Sam mid. So if I play AM, nothing's getting done all game because we have 2 AFK farming assholes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay. So for this week, we're going to talk about something actually related to AM, though I suppose related to most AMs. And we're going to be talking about split pushing, specifically the current iteration of split pushing. We were talking about this right before the show when we were deciding what to do. Just kidding. We planned this extensively ahead of time. I mean, we were talking about this weeks ago, of course, in our extensive meetings. And we decided we want to talk about split pushing because there's like, I don't want to say a misconception, but split pushing has changed in its perception and also in its efficacy, I think, and in how it's employed in recent, I would say, probably, what would you say, like the last like couple patches compared to how it used to be?
I would say so. I'd say mostly in 7.0 is when like the most relevant, like as soon as 7.0 happened and everything turned, I think people kind of jettisoned all of their previous ideas about how split pushing works or is supposed to work or how effective it is and all that business. Yeah,
so I'll say just even because I'm somewhat guilty of having these new perceptions on split pushing. I would say like recently people are just down on split pushing. Very simply put, people are just saying like, oh, well, split pushing's dead. Long live the 5-man, or you just have to team fight comp. You just have to do X, Y, or Z. But split pushing is still pretty effective. And I think another large part of it is just certain split pushing heroes are just like out of the game at the moment. Like Nature's Prophet, classically, he's just not a hero in the game. Like that's just not a thing people do. You can't split push Nature's Prophet. Yeah. And like TP cooldowns got reduced and they're less expensive. And now you have
they got increased. TP cooldowns have been increased. They used to be 60 seconds. Now they're 70.
Is that true? I mean, they're cheaper anyway.
There's 70-second cooldown on TPs now.
Okay.
And everyone keeps them in their backpack now too, so it's basically 76 seconds.
76
moron is like, no, I'm gonna keep it in here, and then it gets like twice the cooldown because they're dumb. Anyway.
Yeah. Either way,
I mean, that's me. That's what I do. So I'm not,
I've made that mistake many a time as well.
Not a mistake. It's a strategy.
Yes. It prevents you from TPing to situations you shouldn't have TP'd to.
Yeah, it prevents you from the accidental misclick TP. And it lets you have your butterfly in your inventory with treads.
Yes, okay. Alright. So let's have you talk a bit about split pushing, because you actually do split pushing. Honestly, unless I'm playing AM, I don't split push. Like it's not in the heroes that I play are not going to use this split pushing, other than like Invoker. But Invoker, usually I don't play the split push heavy Invoker. That's like rare, and I do it.
And even then, the split push Invoker is like, you push to a certain degree, and then you drop Forge Spirits, and then you get out. So it's not so much you're not really putting your hero at risk or whatever. You're not really forcing anything more than like a support to rotate and throw, Frost Nova or some shit and then get back.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just because now you get double Forge at 15 instead of 8. When you got it at 8, that would be like the heyday where like you just get, Aki BOTs and a Null or something and an Abassi, and you just split push for like a year. And then
you really need the Aquila plus Basilius combo to get
yes.
there.
Well, or Null Bassi, yeah.
Right, I got you, dog.
But now that is not, it's much less of a thing being that you get Forge so late. But, man, okay. I just had flashbacks. I played, actually, it was during team practice. We played against an Invoker that did not get any of his talents until levels like 22, 23, 24, 25. That was like one of the most tilting things I've ever lost to in my entire life. It hurt my soul a lot.
Yeah.
But okay, so talk about split pushing, Proud.
Okay, so split pushing has kind of changed. I mean, I wouldn't say. So the main thing that I almost feel like split pushing is actually better now than it used to be. But that's just more in terms of split pushing is a great way to get map control. And it's more so than that, it's a great way to gather more resources than your team at their whatever strength level they are currently at, then they should be allowed to take. Like, let's say, I don't know, I just want to use like N. So like, let's say you have a team that strength level is like N, and the enemy team you're up against has strength level fucking N plus 10. But if you're split pushing, you have the ability, like the N plus 10 team should have way more map control than you do. And because of that, they're able to take way more of a percentage of the map's farm than you are able to. And the way Dota works right now, since there's only half as many times that the camps spawn, but there's a lot more area to cover where camps are at. Like there are more instances of camps on the map. There are more nodes of interest to contest on the map, but they are useful like less frequently. So they've added another ancient camp, another medium camp, and earlier they added another hard camp. All that shit. But to balance that out, they only respawn half as much. So it's not like so like let's say your team is capable of taking 6 camps every minute.
Uh-huh.
In previous patches, all you would really need is control of your jungle, and you could pretty much hit your capacity on how much farm your team was able to take. Now, if you can only take 6 camps a minute, your team will be taking, that means you want to take 12 camps every 2 minutes. You need a lot more map control to be able to take that much. So if you are behind, if your team is behind, let's say you only have that like you only have your own jungle to farm right now. You're not going to be able to hit your cap of the amount of resources your team can collect that way. And that's going to happen when you're behind. But if you're split pushing, let's say you have an anti-mage that's, farming in Timbuktu, the fucking, and let's say they're trying to push mid. And then since the anti-mage is so mobile and is split pushing, the AM can farm this lane, that is opening up more jungle camps for your like supports and your 2 and 3 to farm, and also the AM can be taking the enemy's jungle. So just because your team only has the amount of power, that means you should have map control over this one area. If you're split pushing, you're able to take a lot of resources that your team's current strength level, and when you're at a deficit, you just should not be able to take. So like split pushing gives you a much better way to come back and farm than it used to because of that reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's way more effective to be stealing resources from the enemy's territory than it used to be because of the 2-minute respawn cycle on camps. That's kind of the crux of it.
And would you say, so one of the things whenever I think about that as a strategy is just, and realize we've been playing around shrines for the last few months or however long it's been, but shrines are always kind of let's see, what's the word? They make me a bit more wary of jungling the enemy jungle and stuff like that because it's so simple or it's more direct and you have more venues to be attacked from if you were getting the enemy's jungle compared to previously where
it's not just like, oh, I have a ward that can see someone TPing on their tower, therefore I know if anyone's leaving. It's like, oh, I need to be able to see their tower and their shrine to see if someone's coming at me.
Exactly. So I mean that's just a problem I've been having. I don't know. Shrines in general just like concern me. I know, like
they just make me nervous.
they really do, because I think about all these plays that can be made with shrines that end up not being made. Like, I can very clearly remember, probably multiple times actually, where we've been doing Hakuna Matata practice, or I mean, Dapi stream team stream practice, and we're taking like a mid tier 2, and I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna TP to that shrine behind us and kill us with their team fight. And then I'm like, boy, we should wait, or we should get a ward there. And we're like, we should just push. And then we push, and of course nothing happens. But I'm like, boy, but they could have. I swear they could have. Boy, shrines. Yeah. They're a source of great anxiety for me now with the tier 2s.
Yeah, no, that's I don't think I've ever really seen a team do that. Like, even in my higher MMR pubs, I never see this coordinated, like, oh, everyone TP here and we'll get them behind them. Because I mean, if that gets scouted out, then they're just fucked. It's like it's a high risk, high reward kind of thing. Yeah. But it's definitely a good thing to keep in mind. I just haven't really thought of doing something like that. So in most pubs, don't worry about that if you're split pushing. Pretty much, I've never seen, like, if I'm pushing a tower, I've never seen someone respond to it by TPing to the shrine and then coming at me from the side. It's always like, oh, I'm on a tower. Hey, I can see the exact person TPing there because this goddamn silhouette is so beautiful. And then I just blink away.
Yeah, I know there's so much potential. I feel like I've seen it before, maybe not often, but like if you solo TP like a smoked faceless void to your shrine, and he comes through behind because you guys have like aggressive vision or whatever behind the tier 2, and then you're posturing, and then he gets like a sick chrono because you're not expecting it. Stuff like that is what...
That sounds good, but I think in most people's pubs, they're not going to worry about a core actually buying a smoke for themselves then TPing to a place to
without a smoke,
utilize... Yeah.
Anyway.
Still, I'm just saying, I wouldn't be too concerned about it, dear listener.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just...
Anyway, so the one bad thing about split pushing is... Okay, I mean, like, as 5-manning gets better, split pushing does in turn, unless the game state is in such a way that 5-manning is so strong that you're actually just going to lose your entire base before the split push can actually take out, like a tier 2. And that was the case around like TI4, when you could just bulldoze down tier 1s, and then you would just get strong enough that you could, like, if you just took 3 tier 1s before your enemies have taken enemy, you can just take down a tier 2 very easily, and then you have such a big gold advantage that you can just high ground. And there's no amount of an AM with a 12-minute Battle Fury and no boots that is going to counter 5 people knocking at your door.
Yes.
At like 18 minutes. But I don't really think that's the case, and especially in pubs, I don't really find that's the case. What is bad about split pushing is when your team doesn't understand what you're doing and doesn't plan around you, and just takes really bad fights and then pings you for not coming to them. So it can be bad to be an anti-mage split pushing, and then your team consists of like an Invoker, a Slardar, a Crystal Maiden, and an Ogre Magi. Like, those are 4 heroes that they do things, but they don't fight cohesively as a 4-man unit. They don't really have anyone to sit in there and, like, take the damage or deal the damage, or you don't have like a good like setup into a big AoE combo to kill 3 people very quickly. That's like a very slow kill composition. So they're not going to fight well as 4. So if they do ever fight, they're just all going to die and be like, man, where was our anti-mage to take some of the pressure off of our Invoker? Or we made so much space in this fight for an anti-mage to kill someone, but then the anti-mage didn't. So that's like the only reason that I think split pushing is bad in pubs right now is because people don't know how to not fight.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely, kind of like you just said, between the element of people just fighting all the time and the element of 5-man, where certain team comps and other team comps in general are just, they punish the split push if you do it wrong. But there obviously, like we're saying, there is definitely a place in the game for split pushing now. Especially, of course, the thing I know you've been doing. Of course, I listened to the Proudlands about climbing certain MMR brackets. I know historically one of the approaches has been to tell people that are in that like 2K to 3K or 3K to 3.5K, even maybe 3K to 4K range, just play split push heroes, because low MMR people can't deal with split push effectively, and they just get like sent away. Basically, they're like, oh boy, we can't high ground, because they get nervous. Kind of like I get nervous. I don't know I would probably say that's still a pretty decent piece of advice. It's not a great fundamental. Like it's not one thing you can do to climb MMR.
Yeah,
but it's always
that's not going to make you a great player. That's just the kind of thing that's like, if you are better than everyone around you, here's this one trick that moms hate or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
2K.
Dermatologists hate him. Local man split pushes for a year. Okay. Yeah. But it's still, a relative.
Dermatologists are just a hateful group.
Yeah, really, that's for sure. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about split pushing? I mean, we're going to talk about it more when we get to our actual combo. So I think...
Yeah, I would just say that like a really key part of split pushing right now is to really inform your team to like, hey, don't take a fight. Just don't take a fight.
Yeah.
just don't take a fight.
Delay.
Pickoffs. Don't fight. If they have 5 people pushing a tower, don't fight it. The classic video, wolves need no armor or whatever, is like, tell your team to not fight unless it's under tower. Like, no, fuck that. If it's 4v5, even under tower, like towers are like half a person. You don't win 4v5. You win like 4v3 under tower if you're behind. But if just don't, like, the tower, this is Dota 2. Towers do not defend you. You defend towers. That's not... Like, the tower is not going to turn a 4v5 into a winning engagement. That's just going to turn it into you guys dying, and then you have quicker access for people to TP in and deliver more kills to the enemy team.
Yeah,
I just don't.
Especially if there's creeps.
If you're behind, just like don't fight under tower. But yeah, like you need to really communicate to your team that that's what's happening. And more than just split pushing and killing creeps, you also need to be killing the enemy jungle while you do it. Because the best thing that's possible for you to do is you're split pushing, and then like the odd minute mark comes and you clear like the hard camp let's say you're Radiant pushing the dire safe lane. So you kill that hard camp that the dire safe lane hard camp that they pull from sometimes. You kill that, and then you kill their a little kobold camp and the easy camp, and then you go down a little bit and there's that nice medium camp. It's like you clear a wave and then you walk down, you kill that, then you walk back to the lane. And then you hit to the tier 5 or the tier 2. You hit it a few times, walk down, kill the hard camp, and then you leave. And then the enemy safe lane carry ports in, like, oh, okay, I cleared that. Now let me push this back and clear the jungle while I do it. And they're like, wait, this whole fucking jungle is cleared. I just TP'd top, but there's no jungle to take now. So now they have to either decide, oh, am I going to push this lane back? Am I just going to clear one wave and then leave entirely, and then you can just re-push it in really quickly? Or am I going to, do a couple camps and then wait, a minute and a half for these camps to respawn? Like that's when you force them into making really inefficient plays. But if you split push and don't clear the jungle around the lane at all, then they're going to be able to just TP a core in, and they're just going to continue a farming rotation. Only this time it invalidated what you just did. So you want to clear camps as you're split pushing. That way, whoever responds to you will be forced to make inefficient movements for the next like minute and a half. And that's how you actually come back from split pushing from a gold deficit. Also the way you come back from split pushing is to take a Rax. But if that's not what you're doing, if you're just split pushing to like delay and to try to come back to when you can take a 5-man fight, you need to be clearing the jungle while you do it. And pay attention to the minute mark, because if it's like the odd minute 30 and you clear the jungle and then you leave, it doesn't really matter. You want to clear the jungle, and then like when it's going to take at least a minute for it to respawn. So if you can, just like hang around, like back off while their carry or their core or whatever is clearing their safe lane tower. And let's say it's like 2 minutes 6 minutes 40 seconds or something, or 26 minutes 40 seconds, whatever, and they're clearing this wave in front of their tower. Just sit around, wait for the camps to respawn. Clear that camp, and then just do your path. Take the hard camp, medium, safe, or hard camp, medium, small, large, or hard, or whatever it is, and then walk back. And as long as the enemy carry is like a few seconds behind you, you'll be able to get most of the jungle cleared out. That way you're still getting them to make those inefficient moves in the next, minute and a half.
Yeah. Another really big part of this is, like you were saying, one of the common counters, one of the things people do when they're getting split push, they're like, all right, we're just going to commit, we're going to take a Rax. The easiest thing to do, using AM as an example, is just to say, okay, they're going to commit to that. We have decent wave clear, but not great wave clear. Like we have, let's say, a sniper. So like we can use shrapnel, but eventually we're going to run out of charges. The thing about it that you can do very easily is just cut a wave, right? This is something we see all the time in pro games and high MMR games, is you have an AM split pushing. They're trying to 5-man down your mid tower. And instead of letting them happen and then trying to trade, you just send Manta Illusions mid, or you manually yourself go mid, and then you cut their wave, and then you're going to have backdoor protection. And then they have to decide, like, okay, well, we can't push this. They have backdoor, so we're just screwed. Let's leave.
what's really important information that a lot of people don't keep in their heads is creep waves spawn every 30 seconds. So you can see when a creep wave is going to spawn just by looking at the top of your map. And if you do kill a creep wave before it gets to your high ground, you've just made it so the enemy is not going to actually be able to threaten your high ground for a full minute. And no team is just going to fuck around in front of your high ground and say, well, we got a minute. Everyone, let's be patient and just take it out and just wait a minute. Like, that's not going to happen. Probably for good reason, because this is not a good strategy. So if you do manage to cut a wave, you've basically completely repelled that siege or that push or what have you. And then they're going to disperse and they're going to look for something. And then let's say, okay, we cut the wave. They're going to split up soon. Wait like 45 seconds. And then you smoke and you try to find one of them who just dispersed. Like really, really easily predictable movements that they're going to make. We cut their wave. They're not going to sit here. They're going to disperse and farm. So like cut the wave, 45 seconds, smoke, you get a kill. You know, the momentum has shifted partly back into your favor. I just listened to the Tuesday Q&A a bit, and Mara was talking about good active like team comms, good things to have. Yeah. And like me personally, although this is a slightly more high level thing, what I try to do as much as possible is one, always talk about what you're doing. That's a great way to do anything. Like no one's going to know what move to make unless they know what their team is doing. But also just try to call what you think what people are going to be doing within the next 30 seconds. So if you cut a wave and say, oh, they're going to stop being at our high ground in 30 seconds. They're going to stop 5-manning in 30 seconds. That's when, oh shit, they're going to stop being 5-man and they were just in front of our base. Oh my God, we can smoke. Like that's the kind of thing that you want to like spark those kinds of ideas. But then, oh, within such amount of time, this is going to happen as a result of my split pushing. And this is how that's going to create that opening. So like split pushing is one thing, but being aware of what openings you are creating is another. Another big one that I often do on Lone Druid is like walk in front of a tower, press D. Sorry, I need to cough real quick. Let's see.
Okay,
the mute.
Have fun. Microphone. Oh. All right.
Great. Did it work? Did it work? Did you
you did great, buddy.
God bless. We have the same mic. I hit the little mic thing.
Oh, is there a mic thing? I use push to talk.
Yeah, I decided to stop using push to talk when I got this beautiful microphone, courtesy of Roland and all the sweet people at Patreon who have been able to make us afford giving me good equipment. So thank you everyone to Patreon for this beautiful mic. That's why you didn't just hear me cough. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so you just like sit in front of a tower, make someone TP. As soon as their TP animation goes off, you TP yourself, and you're like, hey, this person's TPing, and now there's only 4 people in front of our base. All I'm going to come back, and then we'll kill them 4v5. And like that's the perfect thing to do. Like split push, wait for one of them to start TPing, let the TP finish if you're able to just walk away from the tower and wait to ensure that they actually do come, and then you TP back home for yourself. Whoa, split pushing just worked. Now it's 4v5, and we kill them all.
Yep. All right, so let's talk about our actual heroes, which, you'll be split pushing this game. I will be doing other things in maybe split pushing. Maybe I'll dabble. Yeah, we'll be playing Centaur, Warrunner, and Lycanthrope. And I'm going to be playing... Yep, I will be playing the Centaur, and you'll be playing the Lycan. I'm looking forward to it, dude. Centaur's a fun hero. I don't play him often, good. But he's a nice, he has good cosmetics. Although we disagree drastically about cosmetic. Yeah, I mean, I wear so many particle effects on my Centaur. Well,
you just go for whatever's as expensive as possible.
That's true. That is true.
Big. You just go for big and expensive. You're just like...
I'm like the WoW player that's just like, what are the biggest pauldrons? I'm going to wear those. That's exactly how I play my cosmetic game, with rare exceptions.
You know that Shakespeare quote? It's like, pay no attention to the garish sun. Like, you would never say that.
Oh no, I'd be like, dude, that garish sun. You'd be like, yo, check
out the sun. It's huge and it's big and it hurts your eyes. Let's get. Like, can I buy that sun? Like, that's you.
Yeah, man, my Lena. Oh god, there's so many particle effects. It's glorious.
Yeah, Lena actually did purchase the sun and put it inside of her chest and her hair and everything else.
I just dream of the day when I'm playing against somebody mid and they're like, boy, I've lost frames and that is messing with my gameplay. That's the dream.
Yeah, I mean, my Lycan does have particle effects. I don't have the book because I'm not that garish, but I do have the claws of the blood moon.
Yeah. Okay, so enough about cosmetics. Let's talk about the actual heroes. You can talk about Lycan first.
Okay. So Lycan is pretty good. He's definitely strong in that kind of 5-man idea, and he's also really good as as a split pusher, obviously. There have been a number of changes to the way that you play Lycan that I feel like people are really slow to pick up. The main one is that Necro is just not that good right now. I almost never buy Necro on Lycan unless it's a purely 5-man game, or I really want the mana burn for something, or there's people that I just want to chase down with units, not necessarily chase down with like a select amount of strength. So a sniper, maybe I won't go Necro because, sniper can stand next to Necro units and not care. But if it's something like, I don't know, I'm trying to think like who, I don't know, maybe they had a Crystal Maiden or something, and every fight she's able to just get off a bunch of shit. Like she can Glimmer Cape herself and whatever, we can't do anything to her. If I was against a Crystal Maiden, maybe I'll buy Necro and then get the Necro 3 and just send my Necro 3 on Crystal Maiden every time. That way she's never able to just like Glimmer Cape Freezing Field or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So kind of a mix of if you need the site and you do need to just like tell a support like, hey, you need to just not be in this fight, you piece of shit. But for the most part, I almost always go Helm of the Dominator, Echo Saber, Deso. Also on Lycan, you pretty much never go Vlads anymore. It's almost entirely in Helm of the Dominator world now. One big aspect of creeps, and this is something I talked about a bit on the Proudland show, talking about base attack time, is creeps scale really well with attack speed in proportion to how heroes do, because creeps have no attack speed innately, whereas heroes have 100 attack speed innately. And what that means isn't necessarily that, one scales better than the other, but creeps in general, if you look at the amount of damage they do that damage without any attack speed at all. So if you do add attack speed, like if you add 10 attack speed to a creep, it'll increase their damage by like 20% or something like that. It's like some weird ass fucking formula. But if you add, 10 attack speed to a hero, it's just like at a base like a 10% damage increase. And as you get more attack speed on it, which you will by the time you have an item like that. Let's say when Lycanthrope gets that, he has maybe 170 attack speed. Yeah, he's got like treads and then some agi. So yeah, he'll probably have like 170 attack speed. Then you add that Helm of the Dominator, maybe it's like a 6% damage increase on him. But a creep, that 10 attack speed is going to be a modifier on their base attack time, and they have no other attack speed, so it's just a straight up modifier on their base attack time, and it's going to be a ton. So like percentage damage is also still really good on them. Like 15% damage is always going to make a creep deal like 15% more damage. But the fact of the matter is that our heuristics for understanding how good 15% damage is the same between a hero and a creep. But understanding how good attack speed is for a creep for a creep is something that we don't really understand completely. That's why you can see those videos of like you take like a Necronomicon unit and you give it like Bloodlust and Alacrity, and it attacks wicked fucking fast, like way more than any unit has any right to attack. And then you put those abilities on a hero and you're like, this actually doesn't make my hero go that crazy. And that's because creeps scale incredibly well with attack speed, because they have no other attack speed on them. That's not the perfect way to explain it, but you kind of get it. Just take it as a fact for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those basic things, right? Where if you have very little of something, an amount of something added to that is more significant than when you have a lot of something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, yeah. So the Helm of the Dominator helps a ton on creeps. It also, your Lycan, you have a way to innately buff your creeps. That's why your wolves are strong. That's why Necronomicon is strong. Mm-hmm. So the creep that you dominate will get the benefit of your, what is it? It's not synergy. I always get these confused with like Feral Impulse. Is that what it's called? Let's see. Feral Impulse. Right? Yeah. So whatever creep you dominate will gain another 48% damage and will gain 10 HP regeneration. And then also it'll get a bonus from the Howl. And also, Lycan is a hero that Lycan really doesn't do that much innately. He summons wolves and he buffs them, but it's not like he has a stun, right? He doesn't have a stun, he doesn't have a root, he doesn't have a slow attached to him. His wolves kind of have a slow, but there's not too much natively on this character. So if you do get something like a troll summoner with troll trap, like, oh man, I have a root that goes to BKB now on my Lycanthrope. That's not supposed to happen. It helps you a ton. And the creeps also get more move speed when you're in ulti. You'll have a troll trap with 650 move speed to drop that in snare, or a centaur with 650 move speed running up and stomping on someone. Like that's crazy good. So it's solid. Helm of the Dominator is really good on this hero, and then it gives you your HP regen that you need, an additional Feral Impulse, so you don't really miss the lifesteal because you have enough HP regen already. It's just really good. So like Helm of the Dominator, that's the thing on Lycan. Then you don't really have mana regen, but you're gonna go Echo Saber anyways. And the reason that you get that is it's synergy. One, you need a bunch of mana regen on this hero. Perfect strength hero. It gives you strength. It's good. Shapeshift gives you a ton of move speed. But it doesn't really give you any way to hold on to people. And you can't really just go first item Basher because you also don't really have that much attack speed on this hero anymore. Yeah. Feral Impulse no longer gives you attack speed. It used to, does not anymore. And your agi gain just got nerfed to shit. It's like 1.0 agi gain or something right now. Your attack speed just sucks. So what you want is you want to run up to someone real fast, and then you get like that double hit on them, and then you can like run back or run to the side or whatever, because as soon as you pop in, they're going to want to disable you, because even though you have a bunch of move speed, you can still get stunned and stuff. So you run up, you hit someone, you get them, like it's a support, they're down to like half fucking health because you get one of your shots crit on them, because you have a 140, 160, 180% crit chance in Shapeshift, and then you back off, and then your Echo Saber like cools down again, then you like reinsert and blah, blah, blah. It's great. So that's like Echo Saber is really good for that, although you don't really do that much damage as Lycanthrope until you get a damage item. So like I've seen Lycanthropes do a build like Dom Echo Saber and then BKB, and it's like these are all great items in a vacuum, but Lycanthrope as a hero does not do anything. And the amount of damage that you get through a Dominator giving you 4 stats and a Echo Saber giving you like 20 damage total, like that doesn't, like a hero with like 130 damage and then a 140% crit, like that's not gonna kill anyone. Doesn't matter if you double hit, you're not double hitting for anything.
Yeah.
So what you want is you want the Desolator. That way when you do double hit, you'll take out like 75% of a support's health, or all of it if one of those 2 double hits crits.
Yeah. And you can buy the Blightstone early.
Yeah, and you buy the Blightstone earlier, and it makes you push ridiculously hard. So you give all your creeps plus 10 attack speed, and then or all the creeps around you 10 attack speed from your Dom. All the creeps you've controlled will get 48% damage from your Feral Impulse, and then your Howl is buffing everything's damage, and then you're putting -7 armor on a tower. Like that's an incredible amount of stuff to do. Then after that, you get BKB obviously, and then you go between getting like Basher and Assault Cuirass. Yeah, and as far as boots go, I really have been liking phase boots. That way that your hero doesn't move, like, because I mean, Lycanthrope just doesn't get a lot of move speed because he gets it all through Shapeshift, but he does have a lot of issues in tripping over units and having no move speed when he's not in Shapeshift. So I really like the phase boots for helping you like move around out of ulti, and then when you are ultied, making it so you don't trip behind your wolves and your centaurs. Phase boots are completely necessary when you have a Necronomicon. Just completely. Like you have 2 wolves and 2 necro units. You're going to trip over them every time if you don't have phase boots. So phase boots, I think, are really, really strong with this hero. If you're going, if you're not going necro, you're going the deso. Then you can do it. Then you can just go treads. That's totally fine. But if you are going necro, you have to go phase boots. I really don't feel like treads is actually a legitimate option if you have the necro.
What do you do in terms of skill build? Because I've like, he's one of those heroes where it's not just like, oh, I just pick 2 skills. Right? Yeah, I gotta balance.
Yeah, no. So this is actually a really big deal that I notice people do on Lycan all the time. Wolves actually suck. Like wolves are your worst skill until they're max. Like 4 points wolves, incredible. 2 points wolves don't do anything. You're just not gonna summon them. They do like 18 damage, and they have a kind of weak base attack time, and they only have 200 health. And they take like magic damage and shit. Like that's awful. Don't do that.
And they feed
once they're maxed. Yeah, and they just feed a ton of gold. Like they suck. But once you have, and they don't have any health regen on them innately, they just suck. And Feral Impulse is really good. The first point only gives you 1 HP regen and 15% damage. So it's like a value point in terms of the damage it provides you. And then subsequent points only give you what? So first point is 15% damage, subsequent points are 11% damage, and that's your base damage. But then subsequent points of HP regen give you 3 more HP regen every point. So if you have 1 point in Feral Impulse, 15% damage, 1 HP regen. Second point pops you up from 1 HP regen to 4. So like now you've got 2 rings of regen on you innately. That's incredible. And it will help you land against almost anything. Like if I do solo safely and Lycanthrope a lot, and I'm like, first point, Feral Impulse. Second point, Howl. Third point, Feral Impulse. Fourth point, Howl. and I've got 4 HP regen on me, plus 26% damage, and then I have Howl to help my lanes out. If I have like, you know, a 1 point summon wolves, I'm not going to summon them. I'm just not going to do it. The wolves they just suck. They're not good until you have 4 points in them. So what I like to do is get the 2 points in impulse so that my HP regen is real. It's something that I can actually rely on. It's actually doing something. 26% damage makes it so no one can outlast hit me, and I can bully almost anyone. I'm hitting for like 80 damage at like level 3, which is great. And then, you know, I'm buying phase boots most likely, so I have like maybe 100 damage at level 4 or something crazy like that. And then I can just bully anyone out of lane purely with my right clicks. And then after that's good, I'll say, okay, does my team need more Howl, or do I have the luxury to start, you know, getting my wolves up? And the wolves don't really matter until, like, not only until they're max, but until you're actually doing something with them. Because if all you're doing is last hitting in lane, the wolves are not accomplishing anything for you. Once the wolves are level 4, they'll have permanent invisibility, so they can actually like scout for you, and you can just use them as temporary wards. But they're not really going to be killing supports until they're level 4. You can't really use them to last hit until the enemy offlaner is out of the lane, and then you can jungle with your hero and last hit with the wolves. But all the cool things you want to do with your wolves are until they're maxed. And all the cool things that your Feral Impulse are going to do are the most cool early game. So I'm 0-2-2 at level 4, and then I'll start maxing my wolves for the most part. Ult at 6, of course, and for the most part, you get your talents at level 10. Although I have skipped my level 10 talent fairly often with pretty good success. But you just kind of judge it yourself. Oftentimes getting another point in Howl or another point in Feral Impulse, like 11% damage is pretty close to plus 15% damage a lot of the time on Lycan, because you are going to go a decent amount of strength items like Wand and Echo and that sort of thing. So kind of judge that, say, okay, how much is 15% damage versus getting my Feral Impulse, plus my Impulse affects my other units, and it also gives me a bunch of HP regen. So like level 10, kind of skippable. But you're going to want to get it, of course, before level 15. So you can go 14 plus 15 damage, 15 plus 12 strength.
Yeah, boy, his win rates for his for his talents are pretty heavily in the win rate fashion of one or the other.
Yeah,
like,
is it 15 damage for 10?
Yeah, 15 damage has over a 2.2% higher win rate. 12 strength has a 4% higher win rate. 15% CDR has almost a 3% higher win rate, and plus 2 wolves summoned has a 3% win rate higher.
Yeah, that's the one that weirds me out. The 2 wolves summoned having such a big win rate. Like, I feel like the wolves would just fall off, and then 15-second shapeshift duration. Holy shit! So that's what, as a 16-second cooldown, and its uptime is an 18-second duration, and then you add that, and it's like over 50% uptime, and then also you have a cooldown reduction on top, so it gets to like, I don't know, like a 70% uptime or some shit like that. Like, that seems really good, but I guess not.
I mean, the wolves summon kind of makes sense in that they have all that magic resistance, right? So they're hard to wave clear, and you can like be pushing down mid with them and send them to a different lane.
Yeah, I just sick them on a support. I'm just worried about them like tripping over each other and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, that's what I get. I just, every time I'm like, is this really better? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Centaur a little. Centaur has gotten really popular recently. I was just looking through some pro drafts because I was talking to somebody about drafting earlier on Discord, and he's been very popular recently. I've been seeing him first phase, either ban or pick in quite a few things, both in pubs and in pros. And he currently has a 57% win rate, and that's in pubs, of course. He has been something of a fly under the radar hero, I guess I would say. Like, there's no real moment where I'm like, wow, Centaur's just way too good. But he just steadily, like, every game I see him in, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And we've played a lot of Centaur in recent games, and I'm a big fan of the hero. So generally what people are doing nowadays, obviously they're offlaning him, sometimes offlane duos, but you just offlane him and he's just really hard to zone. If you either have to tri lane him, and if you tri lane him, that means you can't be roaming on your mid. So your mid's going to be much better. So he forces basically a lot of resources, I suppose, would be the
He requires a lot of resources to handle. Even if you do, he's never completely handled.
And as much as Hoof Stomp has some problems in that it has a very large cast point, it doesn't scale great, his other abilities scale very well, and they do physical damage, which helps tremendously again.
No, Double Edge is magic.
Oh, you're right. But it does physical. I mean, what's it called?
Return is physical.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm losing it. The Hero, basically, I would say one of the big reasons in his popularity growth is just in that he provides a lot of different things, right? He can build defensive items. He enables you to have blink initiation. He enables you to have a hero like Slardar when Slardar is banned, which is very common.
He's in that class of like Slardar, Axe, and Centaur that are like these blink skirmish. They have like the skirmish disable. Like you can blink call, you can blink crush, you can blink stomp, like those kind of heroes.
Exactly, yeah. So they provide a very similar thing. For a long time, people just considered Centaur the bad version of Slardar. I mean, he still kind of is, but he's quite good now. And I think one of the biggest advantages for him is just in that, other than Blink Dagger, all of his items are very cheap build-ups, and he does well in fights and can survive, and he gets good XP and all that. So he has very achievable goals, I suppose, so to speak. Other than the Blink, of course. But Blink, that's just like one of those things where you either farm it directly by avoiding fights, or you take like 1 or 2 good fights and suddenly you have 2250.
Yeah.
So...
And Centaur is one of those heroes that, like, unlike Earthshaker, like Earthshaker sucks because you cannot reliably get a Blink Dagger on that hero. But on Centaur, like, you can jungle, your return is doing damage to creeps, you can double edge to do AoE 400 goddamn damage to creeps, and you've got your Tranquil Boots, like your natural Tranquil Boots carrier. So it's very easy to jungle on a Centaur as opposed to a hero that wants to blink like an Earthshaker or something like that.
Yeah. So I was actually doing some research before this because I've played like a dozen or so Centaur games total, but only 2 in the last 6 months. And the thing about Centaur is that the overall items that he built are very consistent, right? People like clockwork, or bad use of phrase. People virtually always go Tranquils, Blink, Hood, into Pipe, and Aghanim Scepter, and Force Staff, of course, is also very good, but that's a little less consistent on pick rate. But his Aghanims is amazing. The thing about it is that people open with his opening items for offlane very differently, I find. So just going through a lot of the top Centaur players, for instance, MSS, who's the #1 Centaur on Dota Buff, of course. So
in the world, if Dota Buff says that it's true, sponsor us, please.
Yeah, as much as we value Dota Buff, he is a pro player, so he has certain advantages on that. Anyway, he and a lot of other top tier Centaur players I was watching, they start just Poor Man's Shield Tango. Other people build Poor Man's Shield shortly after, and they'll start Salve Stout Tango. And then there's some weird things where people just like get boots early, or like a Windlace or an Iron Talon, even depending if they're going to get zoned really hard. Sure. But in general, I think what I'm going to be doing is Poor Man's Shield Tango, Tranquils, and then either Hood first and then Blink if I can't just get the Blink immediately. That's really like a game-to-game situation. You never know how your money's going to be coming in.
Yeah.
And then pretty much everybody is just rushing Ags right after those 2 items. And some people are breaking off for Force Staff in between, which I kind of like.
They don't go for Pipe, they just get the Hood?
It depends. Oh, no, they get Pipe, but they usually get it after Ags. So, because the nice thing about Hood, right, is that you Hood yourself and then you double edge and you take virtually no damage. Yeah. And so that's the thing. People are mostly finishing Pipe after Ags. Some finish it before Ags. Pipe is way good, and it was one of those items that was not picked up. It was not favored for so long, and then they just kept buffing it when it was already a good item, just because people weren't buying it. But
Side note: Double Edge does not proc your raindrop.
Yeah,
so you can have your raindrop just fine, and Double Edge will not fuck it up.
And on the skill build front, basically what we do very simply is we max Double Edge. At level 1, most people get return at level 1, just so that you don't get zoned as effectively or at all sometimes. And it makes you trade really well. And then after that, you get 1 point stomp, 1 point return, and then you max double edge first. So a lot of people either do it, return, double edge, or 1/1/1 at 3, and then you max stomp. Then you max double edge. Stomp, if you just look at it, its scaling is awful. It is one of these things. It goes from 2-point stun at level 1, which is good, and then it only scales up by 0.25 seconds per level you put into it afterwards. So investing a lot of points in a hoof stomp early is very weak, and the damage doesn't scale great too. It goes 100, 150, 200, 250. Also, it has the problem in just that its cast point is very long. So generally what people do is a lot of times will max return second, which I kind of favor. But of course, it's kind of game dependent. If you are just bursting squishy cores, that is still valuable to max hoof stomp second, I suppose. But that I'm going to kind of play by ear. In general, as long as you're maxing as long as you're maxing double edge and, of course, getting Stampede at 6, 12, and 18, you're off to a good start. Let's see. On his abilities, or his talents, rather, he has, similar to Lycan, actually, he has pretty solidly win rate favored. 2 mana regen at 10, 10 magic resistance at 15, 15 strength at 20, and gain and return aura AoE at 25, all with a not insignificant lead in percentage-wise. That seems solid. I mean, Hoof Stomp duration at level 25 seems a little weak just because people oftentimes have BKBs. And Hoof Stomp is so easy to interrupt because it is such a long cast point.
Yeah. Yeah, and the return aura. The return aura is just like such a joke of a skill. It just feels so. It's one of those talents. Like there are a lot of talents that as soon as you see them, you're like, all right, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Like Co-op 70% spell steer. You're like, well, that sounds like I don't care if this is better or worse. It just sounds ridiculous. So I'm gonna do it. Or like Spirit Breaker. Both of Spirit Breakers 25 points. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
500 charge speed or plus 17% greater bastions. Like either one of those, you're just like, what the fuck? They let me do this? I guess I'll do it.
Or the puck
then
orb
there's
speed.
PA. Oh yeah, the puck orb speed. And then there's PA with the double strike stifling dagger where you're like, what the fuck? And then you do it and you're like, this is terrible. I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, I made that mistake
Centaur.
once. I was like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, it killed a ranged creep. God bless you, level 25 talent.
Yep.
All right, that sounds good. We'll go into why the heroes are good together after we lose.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so you watch the VODs, of course, on youtube.com/.btv1, and we will see. Alright, hello everyone, we are back. We have just finished our game. It was a fun game. I think we can both agree on that one, Brad.
Yeah, I had a ton of fucking fun, dude. That was great.
It was an exciting game.
Part of it is that we won.
Yeah, well, winning helps, but it was just in general, I think. Also, I think we're both playing very fun heroes. Like, it's hard to, unless you're like just getting stomped, it's hard to not have fun playing something like Centaur or Lycan.
Yeah.
So, I will read off the team comps. We had a offlane duo lane, actually, with myself, of course, on Centaur, and then a pub Treant Protector. And we had a mid lane Invoker, and on the safe lane, we had Coddle and Lycan, and I believe you soloed for a good period of time, right?
Yeah, Coddle was there for like 5 minutes, and then he wasn't.
Yeah,
5 is like, I said that 5 like colloquially, like, oh yeah, he was there like 5 minutes. It was, I mean, in game time, that would be a long time for the laning phase. He was there for maybe 2 waves, and then he left.
Yeah, mid was something interesting. The enemy team had a offlane Magnus, a jungle, what's called Legion Commander, which, you know, just so everybody knows, because that crap happens everywhere. And not surprisingly, the team with the jungler lost. What a nice karmic.
What a novel concept. And you would normally think, oh, Legion, the wave clear for more units. Oh, good against Lycan. Not the case, because I didn't build Necro.
Yep. And then in the safe lane, they had a lone druid and a shadow demon. And on the mid lane, they had a shadow fiend. And just for the fun of mentioning it, because we talked about it on the VOD, the lone druid and the shadow fiend were both Smurfs that like were just calibrating. Although they're a calibrating party, so that's you know, it's fun to beat Smurfs or people that bought accounts or whatever.
Yeah, they were both like level 20 in like a mid 4K party game.
Yeah, so you know, who knows. Anyway, so the game was not super long. It's 38 minutes. I mean, Lycan games generally don't go long, right? Like it's very tried and true. Either you win or you lose. And I mean, just in general, I think the game went virtually our way the whole time. We had like a few, you know, mess ups here and there, a few bad trades, but in general,
kerfuffles did not go the way of the Radiant, I will say.
Yeah,
actually the net worth was pretty much even the entire time up until like 28 minutes. Like it was dead even.
Yeah,
like, it kept going back and forth.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, their team had a lot more cores, and they had like tanky cores. Even like Lone Druid, like he's relatively easy to kill, but he's evasive, he's super fast, and there's 2 of the things that you need to deal with.
His bear is tanky, and like that's kind of like if I need a tanky core on my team and I'm picking carry, I often pick Lone Druid because he supplies a tank basically for the team early game.
So all in all, I mean, basically, we won because we had more coordinated success, and they had a lot of uncoordinated success, is what I would say. There were random little skirmishes here and there that they won, but in general, whenever like real fights happened, we took pretty decisive wins. Would you say that, Proud?
Yeah, and we had a pretty good ability to like bail people out. Like we had the global Treant, we had the global Lycan, and we had your global ulti. So we had a lot of things to help people. Like whenever shit happened, we had like your ulti would help them either get away or help us get to them. My Howl would help them live a bit longer so they didn't die within the duration of the duel, and then Treant's armor would also help them like maybe even just live through everything. Like, we had a lot of mechanics to our heroes, encouraged us to play together. Especially, and then also Coddle can, heal us, and of course has recall, so that also encourages Coddle to be paying attention to his teammates. So I feel like a lot of the aspects of our team encouraged us to be playing together in one way or another, and then also Sunstrike and all that. Whereas they had, obviously as evidenced by having a Jungle Legion commander, they didn't play as a team almost at all, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. I think one of the big things that came to mind in that game was the fact that Coddle was on our team, and boy, that hero is so good. I like the Coddle player himself, like he played it very well. There were a few times where I was like, oh boy, you could have played it, like he made a few mistakes here and there, but in general it's a great example of why Coddle's a great hero on a team like this. And in general, it was nice having Coddle when we had a stunning offlaner, because Coddle suffers in some games where it's like, okay, well, we have a Coddle, but that means we have no actual stuns from our supports. Yeah. But between Invoker as our mid laner and Treant ult and myself, we had a good deal of stuns and disables.
Yep. And that's like a big part of why you really want a skirmish stun in your offlane, because it opens up your supports to not be, Lion plus Shadow Shaman. Like you're allowed to have a Coddle, you're allowed to have a Treant if you have your basic low cooldown AoE stun in your offlane, which is a big part of why Centaur is so good.
Yeah. And I really like the duo lane of Treant Centaur offlane. We really bullied the LD a lot, and then eventually Shadow Demon started spending more time in the lane. And we actually ended up feeding a few kills where we got a little overzealous. But in general, I think the duo off of really just fundamentally any duo off that just two really tanky heroes that are really annoying and hard to kill is quite strong. I think we over-aggressed a little bit, and it was not ideal for me to be splitting XP. But he had a decently fast Midas. He had a 9-minute Midas.
Oh, that is good. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
9-minute Midas on a support? That's good.
Oh, I mean, it's really good, but he was effective. Like, I let him CS the offlane and delayed my blink by a good while. But but like I said, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just he didn't have boots. He literally just had like a Midas.
Yeah, that's not the best. I'm just thinking like normally as a mid lone druid, if I want to go Midas, I'll get it at 9 minutes. But I also do have like boots and Orb of Venom and like my starting items, and he did just start with a fucking Glove of Haste, like a piece of shit. Yeah. But
so that was fine. I mean, really, it was just a fun game. Like I had a lot of nice stomps. We had. I think you'd agree. The big decisive point was we took one big Roche fight. And that was, as it is in many games, they almost killed Roche. We came in, we beat them very decisively in a Roche fight, and then suddenly we all had gold, we had Aegis, and they were all dead. And so
we had that because I had wolves following people the entire game, and one of my wolves followed them into Roche, and it was like, well, they're Roshing, and then we were able to just set up without them knowing that we like knew 5 minutes ago that they were in Roche.
Yeah, and we had Coddle Ag, so once we were in the vicinity, even, because I mean, we kind of knew that... Yeah, we kind of knew that they were going to be doing that, but the wolf follow is definitely, that was especially killing and dealing with Legion. Not necessarily in that.
As soon as a fight would start, like I'd have my wolf I'd have one wolf following Legion, and I'd try to have the other one following Magnus, although it was a little hard because he would just start shadow blading first. But as soon as like it looked like we were gonna fight, I would just select all my units and A-click the ground. And since my units were closest to Legion, they would just start auto attacking Legion, so Legion could never do a blink initiation on any of those fights, and Magnus also for the most part. And that was that was why I felt so fucking good that game. Is like I stopped all their blinks. Like we could just stampede and do whatever the fuck they want. They would need to walk into position. And all their blinks were like disabled for the first 10 seconds of every fight. It was great.
Yeah. The other nice thing I think that we noticed as the game progressed was I had Aghanim Scepter at 30. So my build ended up being Tranquil's Blink Dagger, Blade Mail, Aghanim Scepter, and then I had a finished Heart, but I didn't get to pick it up. And the Aghanim Scepter against Duel, it didn't work out a couple times because I had it off cooldown, but when it was usable, it makes duels practically unwinnable. They have to deal such an absurd amount of damage to anybody that they're dueling.
Yeah.
Because of the 6%, what's it called? Resistance.
60% damage reduction or whatever. Yeah.
Man, that's so good.
Any duel that happened was like, man, they just didn't realize not that person's just not dying. Why are they so tanky? It's like, oh, we have Centaur attacks. They're just never gonna win a duel. And then they end up blowing more and more of their cooldowns on trying to get the dual kill to actually happen, and then it doesn't, and it's like a carrot on a stick kind of thing. Like, come on, we'll give you slow. Why isn't he dead? And then because guess okay, that sucks. Yeah, it's good. Good anti-synergy, or good counter, I guess. That's the real term.
Yeah. So past like the obvious stuff about like how our team comp just worked out, like especially considering the 3 pub picks, what did you want to like? Let's talk about the Lycan game a bit.
Okay, so I want to talk about just like the synergies between the 2 heroes, and this is something that I experienced a lot on Anti-Mage, and it works a lot more under the concept of Lycan doing some split pushing rather than me actually split pushing, because I actually didn't do that much this game. It was mostly like me split farming and split pushing with my wolves a little bit, and then like a fight would happen and then you would stampede. And I guess this actually is pretty relevant, because I wasn't necessarily split pushing because they had so much catch out for me between like a Shadowblade Magnus and a Blink Duel and a Shadowblading Shadow Fiend and all that stuff, that I had to play a little bit deeper into the jungle and just split with my wolves. And by split with my wolves, I just meant I was last hitting with my wolves in lane. Like I probably got half my CS just from like me walking around being safe and CSing with wolves. But it was more like the idea behind the Centaur is, if you compare what a Centaur does to what a Slardar does, and this is when you do that like visualization thing, I think is really important to be doing when you're picking up heroes. A Slardar, when a Slardar is fighting as an offlaner, is going to like blink and crush and then run away and then wait for your team to follow up. Like a Slardar creates the opening and then, leaves and lets your team deal with it, which is good if you have 5 people, because then you have, 4 other people to, do the follow-up. But if you have someone split pushing, you only have 3. So what the Centaur does instead is Centaur does like the blink stomp, and then Centaur doesn't leave. Centaur stays in and does the double edge and does 400 fucking damage, and then sits there and does more damage as like return. So if you have a Slardar, you need 4 other people to do the follow-up. Like Slardar scales great by having more teammates, but the Centaur isn't quite as reliant upon your carry. Because early game, the Centaur does what the carry does and what the offlaner does. He initiates, and then he stays in the fight, and then he does a ton of damage as well. So like he kind of does what Axe does, only with a lot bigger health pool to follow it up, and he's able to kind of fight the entire game, right? Like that's kind of what happened with you, yeah.
And in some ways, I actually had this thought in the early game. I was like, boy, this Return just seems like a really bad version of Counter Helix. But then as the game scaled, Return becomes a much better version of Counter Helix.
Yeah, so even if you're cutting it out, like Druid's still killing himself.
Yeah, and the Blade Mail, that's what I was talking about. And that's why I didn't end up going Hood, was I would just Blade Mail, and then either they attack me and hurt themselves even more, or they can't attack me at all, and I can just go completely unfettered for like, 6 seconds or whatever. And if
I have my AC aura happening there, then they're taking even more damage from your Blade Mail. It's good stuff.
It was great.
Return. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm all jazzed up on this duo. It was so much fun, dude. Centaur is so good. It's just like, because I mean, so what we were saying, I don't know if I told this to you, if I said it on the podcast already, but the idea that just like there's such a big part of an offlaner is how you get your Blink Dagger. And like Axe wants to do it by jungling. Centaur wants to do it. Centaur can do it by jungling, but he can also team fight before Blink. Slardar can't really. Slardar does it like through ganking and a little bit of jungling. But Centaur can do it any fucking way he wants. Centaur can jungle. He can lane. He can gank. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So like, if I'm split pushing and I'm like drastically reducing the avenues that Centaur has that are viable. Like if I'm split pushing and jungling, Centaur can't also jungle. Like we can't support having an Axe and a Lycan both putting out no pressure on the map. So if I say, okay, I'm just gonna like jungle and get these items and like split push, Centaur, you need to make space for me. Like Centaur can say, okay, it's not an Axe who's gonna be like, well, I'm 1,000 gold off Blink, so I'm not gonna do that. Like Centaur doesn't give a fuck. Centaur will do whatever the hell you need. Yeah. It took me a few engagements to start properly managing my cooldowns and mana and all that, but it was good. I'm into it. If I have to offlane, I'm going to be playing Centaur. So any more thoughts on the game before we close it out?
Nothing. I think it's good. This game totally hammered home to me, like, I am never going to play Lycan and not build phase boots. I know a lot of people like treads. Like, I think Matumba Man still does treads. But like if I don't have my ulti form up, I cannot do anything on this hero in a team fight unless I have treads. Like if you don't have treads on this hero and your ulti's not up, you do not accomplish a single fucking thing. It's just unreal. And one of the other things I did like for you, where your stampede was like, even if I didn't have my ulti, like I could still catch up to someone for a little bit with like your ulti, and then I do my like phase boots afterwards, and it's another like 7 seconds duration I have to deal with after my ulti runs out. Also talent wise, I just took the duration. I mean 4 wolves is good, but like man, I just fucking kill everyone with my ultimate. Honestly, it's unreal. I think if you're doing more of the split pushing thing, it's fine. But like every time my ulti was up, I was just like, I was killing everyone, man. Like as soon as I got Echo Saber plus Deso, I was like one-shotting their entire team. It was wild.
Yeah, Ja definitely feel. So let's talk about some plugs real quick. We'll do them. The lightning round on the Tuesday.
Sure, you don't want to talk more about how good I was on this Lycan, because like I was really fucking good.
It was good, but
if you want to learn how to play like not that I play a perfect Lycan or whatever, but if you want to get a sense of how Lycan like ought to be played, like that was the best Lycan game I've ever played in my life. Like I was
17-2.
I had people, not even the score, but just like the fact that I was always like microing my wolves, and I had my wolves like following people, and then when they weren't doing that, they were CSing, and my hero was always around in jungle. Like my jungling on my hero was pretty slow, because I would be doing stuff like after I finished killing a camp, and I'd have like 3 seconds of downtime before my hero walked and did something else. But yeah, like if you want to know how Lycan is like actually played, like using your resources, that's not a bad VOD to look up.
Yeah, boy, I didn't even realize. I was just looking at it now. You have 731 GPM.
Yeah, no, like I played the Lycan hero and I did it right.
Yep.
And I had, dude, look at it, like my damage was high as shit. I had 10k more damage than our Invoker. That's not what Lycan is supposed to do.
Yeah. All right. So you can watch the VODs that we put up on youtube.com/.ptv1. That's where you can find all our other video content, including replay reviews and our shows, if you prefer to listen there. We stream on twitch.tv/.ptv. I stream, Proud streams. We all stream. It's fun. We do Sunday team stream at 5 Eastern. We do Wednesday night in-houses at 9 Eastern. You can get in on those through discord.gg/.p. Tuesday Q&A, of course, is also streamed on Monday nights at 9 Eastern, and we have random streams all over the week. We have Twitter, at @Doppy_show is the show. Proud is at Proud Dota. I am at Ursinity. We have a thing called Patreon, patreon.com/Defense of the Patients. That's been going real well recently. There are exclusive episodes that you can get for only $1 or more, of course. And those are very fun. We've got a new one coming out probably in like a week. I forget the exact date, but we do them 2 a month, one in the middle, one at the end. We can email us questions at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. And you can give us iTunes reviews. We appreciate those. I believe we're going to be reading them soon at some point, but we keep not doing that. So we got to get those in order. Anyway, we appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for listening. Remember, this has been our theory. And, well, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's enough. We're fine.